Jef, did you have eggs for breakfast?
I've not eaten any breakfast yet today. I tend to not like to eat right before I talk into a microphone for an extended period of time.
I would think eggs would help your saliva and mucus levels. And
I famously, like when I do the morning show in the mornings, which is my day job, if I eat something before, like we do the weather at the top of the hour, so 6, 7, 8, 9, and then I'm off at 10, and I will start burping through the weather if I like eat anything before, like if we taste something on the radio, or if somebody brings in a snack and I'm scarfing it down at 9:04 when I do the weather at 9:16, I will almost always like start burping during the weather. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's a psychosomatic thing, but...
Have you ever eaten eggs right before?
Yeah, there was a few times. I mean, we're doing an episode about eggs, so I will tell you very specifically, like, the first time I ever drank booze on the air, I was pretty new on the show, and I think it was the St. Patrick's Day, and my co-host brought in a Guinness, and I just sipped a Guinness for like during the show, and I got really like spinny and turned around. So
you lost like you weren't on your A game.
Well, I know I really felt like, I like to drink, but drinking a Guinness at 8:45 in the morning like got me, like I was spinning a little bit, like physically, like your vision and stuff were yeah, it hit me really, really hard.
Okay.
So the next few times we ended up having to drink some booze on the morning show, like I brought in a hot plate, which still lives at the radio station, and I brought in a cast iron, and I like made a breakfast sandwich for my co-host and myself, or like I made burgers and put an egg on them one time. Like I have cooked eggs here at the radio station.
Is adding an egg to other dinner food the key to turning it into breakfast?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah. I would say absolutely, like, you put an egg on a burger, it's a breakfast burger. Mm-hmm. I have done breakfast lasagna where you take a leftover slice of lasagna and fry an egg and put it on there.
So that's the cheat code.
100%.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of anything where egg doesn't make it okay for breakfast. Mm-hmm. I don't love fish and eggs together, but I know that there are people where it's like, oh, I'm going to have salmon and like a fried egg with the salmon, and that's a good breakfast.
Yeah, that's pushing it for me, but all right.
I'm trying to think of like, definitely I've done lasagna here at the radio station where you just fry an egg. Steak and eggs. That's a classic.
That's a classic. Yeah. You're right. I was thinking more like a thick steak, but
that's a thick steak when you get steak.
Oh, really? I thought it was all sliced up.
No, when you get steak and eggs, I mean, sometimes it's, it's usually from a diner. It's not it's Chris or whatever, but that's a breakfast.
Yeah, I guess that is the key, isn't it?
I really am struggling to think of something that does not get breakfastified when you put an egg on it.
What about dinner eggs? Dinner eggs are not really, unless it's like a deviled egg at a party or something.
A poached egg on top of a steak salad, I think, is very nice.
Okay.
Or like a frisee thing. Like, there's people are doing a lot of things in Japan with a type of omelet. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Where it's like looks really soft and fluffy.
It's soft, and then like you cut it open on the top, and it like unfolds, and it's like semi-cooked on the inside, and it spills all over the rice. I mean, egg fried rice for sure.
Yeah, sure. I get that.
And then I've been really into Alton Brown. He's back. He's doing a YouTube series. I don't know if we've
got to make sure to say that
Alton Brown.
Yeah.
What's the other guy?
I don't know. Alton
Brown.
I don't know. That's how I would expect to say it, but that's not how he says his name.
Yeah, it's Alton Brown.
That's right.
He's back. He's doing a YouTube show, and it's been great treadmill viewing for me. Mm-hmm. And I've done a lot of his recipes. I always would consider, so there's a Italian dish, carbonara. I think it's a Roman pasta dish, and it's eggs, cheese, bacon mixed together into a sauce. You put it on the pasta, and I always would eat it for breakfast because it's eggs and bacon or guanciale, which is the pork jowl. And Alton Brown did an episode where he's like, "Oh, this was literally invented for American GIs who like needed something to eat for breakfast." Like I guess it was in World War II when they were American army guys in Italy. And they said, "What are we going to eat?" And they invented this like pasta, this breakfast pasta for the GIs.
So why are eggs breakfast?
I don't know.
Doesn't make sense. It could be anything. Like, I mean, I also don't understand why we eat like pancakes and stuff like that, but that's a separate subject.
Yeah.
But eggs are so breakfast coded.
I don't know the answer to that. I mean, I grew up eating eggs for breakfast. I think everybody kind of did, but it's not just U.S. American. I feel like, egg fried rice is probably like a breakfast fried rice in, China or whatever, and you go get the quiche or the omelet in Paris. I've talked about being in London recently and getting the big fry up, which it doesn't always come with eggs, but it has eggs on it.
I guess I have heard the theory that at least in like England and Ireland and stuff like that, that it's hangover food, that you need fat in your gut to suck out the toxins.
All right.
Yeah.
I told you, and this is not such egg-related stuff, but my sister lives in London, and we were visiting her, former guest of this show, Jef Harmatz. We were visiting her over the autumn, and she took us to get a classic London fry-up, which is, you sit in like a really like not very nice place, like on a plastic table, and order, the beans and the black pudding and the toast and stuff like that. And we got that. We got the traditional one, but there was like a big man in the back, seemed like he was there a lot, and his entire breakfast was 2 baked potatoes only. Just 2 baked.
Dry?
I'm sure there was like butter on them, but they call them jacket potatoes in England, and he just sat there that was the breakfast.
They put tuna and beans on potatoes there. We talked about that?
I don't know if we have.
That's an Instagram viral thing where they put tuna and beans on baked potato. That sounds gross, right?
I don't think I would do that. Beans on toast or beans on potatoes, like
yeah, that I'm fine with.
Yes, but the tuna is a little dicier.
So all right, I'm trying to think of a good scenario. This is it's 11 a.m. You just went on a hike.
Yes,
you haven't eaten breakfast yet. You only had maybe coffee, and you're at a local diner.
Okay.
How many is and you're trying to treat yourself. You're not trying to hold back. How many eggs could you or would you order at that time?
I mean, I'm a 2-egg person. Sometimes they serve the omelet with 3 eggs, and that's the only time I'm ever going above 2.
You would never do like 3 is even pushing it.
Three's too much, and I'm trusting the kitchen when they say we do a 3-egg omelet here.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Good to know.
You were watching this Paul Newman video?
Yeah, I was. I was watching Paul Newman eat 50 eggs, which I've never seen the actual movie. But
Cool Hand Luke?
Cool Hand Luke.
Are they hard boiled or like what is he doing?
They're hard boiled. I mean, do you want to see a little clip?
Sure.
You can kind of get a sense of it. So everyone's betting, and they're hard boiled. And here, there you go.
Okay, and he's doing push-ups and stuff while he's eating them?
He's in prison. Yep.
Okay, he's a little cutie, that Paul Newman.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm the last guy to say that. I think everybody is acknowledged that he's...
That's it. That's figured out at this point.
Newman's Own 50 eggs.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, they should do. I don't think I've never seen them do anything with eggs. I guess everything is shelf stable, more or less.
I think so, yes.
Yeah.
Well, let's introduce the podcast.
Gingerbread Man Down, Clean Up on Aisle Podcast.
You're listening to Clean Up on Aisle Podcast, the dirty truth about grocery stores. I'm Jef Harmatz, joined as always by Adam Fligsten. Hello, Adam.
Hey, Jeff. How are you doing?
I'm doing wild. We are here to talk some relatively new news about the egg situation. But before we even get into that, it's the morning of 4th of July.
Yep.
I asked you a little bit about this before the record, but you're hosting people at your newish house today.
Yep. I have a above ground pool that
Right, is it set up? It's installed?
All set up.
Right.
I've been testing the levels. The levels are good. I've been skimming off anything that floats on the surface.
All right.
It's good. I put my dog. First, I got a little like doggy life preserver. And at first, I was like kind of getting in, and I basically kind of dropped. It was only like 5 seconds, if that. But I kind of like threw him in, and then he tolerated it, but he didn't love it. But now what I've started to do is just hold him over, and he just kind of wags his little paws in the water, and he wags his tail, and I think he likes it. So I'm trying to acclimate him to swimming.
All right.
But yeah,
My dog hates the water.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's more of a terrier. I mean, she looks like a little rat.
so your partner said that terriers don't like water.
Yes.
And this is yesterday, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I did some research, and I'm not sure that is true across the board.
Okay.
Yeah.
My dog hates the water.
Sure.
We can say that.
Sure. Yeah.
We have thrown her into a pool. She will immediately swim out. She's a good swimmer.
Mm-hmm.
She'll swim out and then just like start running back and forth to get the water off of her. And she,
Yeah. Well, my dog does not. He doesn't seem to mind the water, but he doesn't like being wet after the fact.
Okay.
So that is similar.
Our dog does mind the water. I mean, we've taken her to the dog beach in Long Beach, and she does avoid going into the water. Like, she will get her feet a little wet and then run out, and she's like, I actually don't like this. So we trust her. How did your dog do? We're recording this the morning of 4th of July. Locally where we live, they did shoot off, like, the city shot off fireworks on the 3rd of July for reasons that we will not get into on this show.
They couldn't get a guy. It's pretty easy. The guy was there's only so many guys, and Yucca Valley is low on the dance card.
Look, I'm going to be honest with you. I think I know the guy that ended up doing it, and I'm like, how come we couldn't do it on the 4th? Again, not to dig too much into that, but how did your dog do with the fireworks?
I didn't even notice them.
Okay, you couldn't hear him at your house?
No, I didn't even remember that they were happening until you mentioned it right now.
All right.
So yeah,
We did go to a neighbor's house with all the dog park people to watch the fireworks with all the dogs. All the dogs did pretty good.
do they do any of those howl sessions?
They did not fireworks related, but when these dogs get together, they do howl, and it's pretty fun, pretty good. And then today you're hosting. There's probably going to be more fireworks around today. I'm hosting a pie eating contest at our local watering hole. That I'm.
I probably won't be able to be there, but I would like to. I'm kind of sad that I'm missing it.
It'll be pretty quick.
Yeah.
I think people are really into seeing the fiasco of it all.
Are those vegan pies? Do you know that?
I don't know 100%.
Somebody said that they were, but yeah. Anyway,
It would surprise me not either. It would not surprise me either way.
okay.
So, the people will be eating blueberry pies. I've got to like go home and put together an outfit, and like run a mile.
It'll be Captain Crunch.
No, nothing like that. Maybe I'll wear my Captain Crunch hat to your house, but not to host the event.
He's patriotic, right? Kind of.
He is a naval man, although I think his outfit would suggest that he is of the British Navy. I think he's like looking into those hats. He's a British admiral, or is it a?
Okay, so that's anti
Yes.
today.
So maybe I think you want the tri-corner hat. The Captain Crunch wears a bicorn.
You could be like a dead captain, and then that would be patriotic.
Okay,
right.
A zombie Captain
Zombie.
Crunch.
Yeah, exactly.
But we did want to touch on a little grocery store news. It's been a big week for grocery stores. Aside from the topic that we're talking about today, which is the egg price fixing, there is some other interesting news. There was we're in California recording this, and there was new legislation that went into effect on July 1st. Here in California, at least, and I can only speak to how it works in my home state, but new legislation like goes into effect on January 1st and July 1st. And I don't even quite understand why some of it takes until July 1st. It's just probably the way things are written. But there was new legislation that went into effect this Wednesday, was Wednesday, July 1st? Yeah, Wednesday was July 1st, about sell-by dates on packages sold in the state of California. Have you heard about this?
Yeah, I just saw the headline.
The gist of it is, and again, we're going to talk about some legislation that I think, and I don't want to give my opinion on this. I appreciate that they're trying to keep an eye out for the consumer. I think there's more pressing matters than this for the state to work on. But the idea is they're banning sell-by dates and other confusing language like that on grocery store products. So they're really coming for sell-by. But when you like go buy a, I don't know, let's say what's the thing that can expire? A can of
That can or cannot?
that can expire.
I don't know.
Let's say
Whipped cream.
whipped cream. Okay. So you take a look at the can of whipped cream, and it will sometimes say expiration date. It will say best if used by, sell by. And all of the legislation argues that all of these different terms create confusion, most especially saying sell by, because that is speaking more towards the retailer than it is the consumer. Like if I buy the whipped cream and I say it's a sell by, I'm like, I'm not selling this. Like, what does this mean to me?
Right.
So the legislation that was enacted by California, you have to say one of two standardized phrases: best if used by and use by.
Okay.
So best if used by is talking about that peak freshness, whereas used by is more of a proper expiration date.
Okay. It doesn't really seem to solve whatever. I'm not even sure exactly what problem they're trying to solve.
So here's some of the other terms. There's sell by, there's expires on, freshest before, and there's they're saying that there's 50 other ones.
So they're just saying it's confusing
To the consumer.
See, at first I was like, okay, this is about food waste, and this is about, trying to be honest about, when things are, healthy to eat and consumable. But it doesn't. If you say best by or freshest date is, that doesn't solve that at all. So
I think
just targeting confusion. Like, oh no, confusion. That's our number one enemy, confusion.
Yeah, I agree that I've stopped considering, like, when I'm looking at the date, I say, what is the date on here and how close am I to this date? And I'm not looking at the terminology before it. And if it is a sell-by thing, then that is confusing. I don't disagree with the sentiment of this legislation. The execution perhaps leaves a little to be desired.
Well, yeah, okay, now it says best if used by. So what are you going to do with your whipped cream? Let's say it says best if used by, and it's 5 months ago. But it's been in your fridge, it's been stored.
I would probably,
successfully.
5 months, I would probably throw it out. I wouldn't even give it the sniff test if it was 5 months post that date. But if it's a week after that date, I'd give it the sniff test.
What if secretly the whipped cream manufacturers know that it can last a year in the fridge if stored in proper things, but they put best if used by 5 months ago? Because that's very likely to be the case.
I don't disagree with that. I think you have hit on to something. I wish it was just... I understand that they're steering clear of expires by, because that's pretty, that's a definitive end date as well. And when you're talking about food waste...
Yeah.
Just because something says it's expired doesn't mean that it is bad and has to immediately go in the grocery can, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and also, how can they say something is expired if temperature is everything when it comes to that sort of thing. So they can't say, oh, it'll be fine if it's been in a hot car all day.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I don't know. I don't like best if used by. I use by, I think, which is closer to expiration date. But that language is confusing too.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I support the spirit of trying to keep the people honest, but I don't know.
I think what they settled on, which is best if used by and used by, feel like they came out of committee. That's where they say too many cooks in the kitchen on this one. And I guess legislation from any state or government body is probably going to be, by definition, by committee.
But the other thing is that as California goes, so goes the country. So almost everywhere else is going to have these exact labeling.
I did want to talk about that because, they're not going to, let's say, can of whipped cream. They're not going to have a separate, PNG that they print onto the cans for California. They're just going to say, okay, if we're making whipped cream today at the factory, and they're going to go to California, and they're going to go to Arizona, and they're going to go to what's one of the bad states?
Oklahoma? I don't know. What's a bad state?
I don't know. I It's a little bit of a trap. I just but
Yeah, exactly.
but the Oklahoma, Wisconsin, like Montana, like they're not going to make a separate can of whipped cream just for California, right? So
Yeah.
California is using its place in the market as one of the bigger states to kind of dictate what goes on throughout the rest of the country. I know that a lot of other states and perhaps some people in the federal government do not like when California does stuff like this. And this just seems like a weird flex from the state of California in this particular instance.
Yeah. Again, I guess to some degree I like the spirit, but we'll see. I don't know.
And I do have to say also, yeah, while we support the spirit, I do feel like there is a lot of other more pressing issues for the state to work on. I know that that's maybe a fallacy when you're talking about government and policy, where it's like, well, why are they doing this when they should be doing this thing?
Yeah.
Why are they wasting their time doing anything with grocery stores? But you got to do legislation.
Yeah.
Again, there are more pressing things to hit. For example, in New Jersey, on July 2nd, and this comes to us from Supermarket News, they became the second state to ban surveillance pricing, which I think is a much more pressing issue than when my can of whipped cream is best if used.
Absolutely. But the problem with surveillance pricing is it's very hard to pin down. So is there any information about sorry for putting you on the spot.
No, I have the article right here.
Yeah.
They are saying the measure, which takes effect in 1 year, bans surveillance pricing. It protects consumers from higher prices based on their preferences and characteristics. It has a 1 year moratorium on installing new electronic shelving labels. And I guess it just has a general ban on using it. I don't know how you
See,
enforce
that's the thing is that people imagine surveillance prices, and I'm sure the grocery stores imagine this, as if like you walk up to the whipped cream shelf and you see it says $3, and then I walk up to the same whipped cream shelf 5 minutes later and it says $4, right? But that's not really how it works.
Okay.
The way it really works is you log on to the Ralph's app and you get a $1 coupon, and I log on and I do not. And that they can't really and that's because of the whatever. They've targeted me as a person who can afford the extra $1 and is more likely to still buy the whipped cream. But they can't really legislate against that, can they? And this doesn't sound like,
I mean, as a guy that doesn't use any apps, and I don't have I have a Vons membership card that is actually my dad's phone number. Like, I don't even have like my own Vons number. As again, pretty big Luddite in the world, but also when it comes to grocery store shopping, having the ban on the electronic pricing feels to me, as a consumer, like the most effective way.
Just a good line in the sand.
That should be the line in the sand a little bit. And
again, I like the spirit. Forgive me for being pedantic in this way.
I don't think you are.
Yeah. But all right. I mean, it is a scary thing that is only going to loom larger as time goes on.
Absolutely.
And it's related to what we're going to be talking about later. But yeah.
And I really like this article from Supermarket News does have a note about the Instacart settlement. They had to pay $60 million in refunds to customers to settle a Federal Trade Commission investigation into unlawful tactics about using AI pricing tools to make groceries more expensive for some people. Again,
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's Instacart doing that. And again, I know people use Instacart. Do you use Instacart?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, for sure. I guess they can, that's a real thing that they can legislate and say, like, do you have something in your algorithm to raise the price based on the person? So, yeah, we'd love to see more of that.
I mean, I have to say, I assume if I'm using Instacart that they are like doing shit like this. Like I know if I'm going into Instacart, I'm like, they are taking my data and I'm getting served up special prices on certain things, and I assume that I'm paying. I know I'm paying more if I use Instacart. Same with Uber and Lyft. I assume that they are using information about my location and jacking up the price. The same with airports, buying plane tickets. Like, it's just baked into the experience, in my opinion. Maybe that makes me cynical.
No, it makes you realistic, but I guess the question anyway. We're going to be talking about monopolies in a little bit, but the question is like what are the downstream effects of all this, and how is this actually? I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, whatever. We'll be talking about
I do think that the government, like, it would be nice if there was more legislation to stop Uber and Lyft from like doing shit like that, but I just assume that's what's happening.
Correct.
Like, I do not buy plane tickets without using a VPN anymore because I don't want that.
See, I've gotten lazy about that. I need to get better about that because I know that is a real thing that has been proven. Yeah.
And I know you really can't use a VPN when you're calling an Uber. So I'm like, if I'm getting an Uber, I know that Uber is using my data to screw me because they are an unethical company, in my opinion. And I would hate for grocery stores. So Instacart's not a grocery store. Instacart is it's like the Uber type thing. It's a disruptive app that's unregulated and acts as a middleman. It's the whole tech bro economy is just, can we middleman this? Can we get in here a little bit and get a little taste of taxis, a little taste of grocery stores?
That's right.
So it's inherently unethical in my opinion, and I know that if I'm using Instacart, then I am paying the tech bro fee for their unethical behavior. That is baked in for me as part of the service. I try not to use them, and I know that when I am, I gotta pay extra for this shit.
Correct.
So I do. But as a guy that goes to a grocery store, when I see like an electronic tag on the shelf, which I really haven't seen yet in my
I have, but I'm just imagining the way that people would imagine it to be changing, I guess, is the thing. I mean, yeah.
I understand what you're saying, but I imagine also, and in addition to, they will change it so that when I go get my can of whipped cream, it is $4.49, and when you go get your can of whipped cream, it is $4.59.
Yeah.
I just imagine it will like connect to your phone and change in real time as well. Otherwise, why would they have those electric things?
Yeah, I think it's slower, but still the same concept. So it's like if they know a busload of World Cup fans are going to be around, then that morning they'll change them all.
Absolutely. And that's,
yeah.
I think that's, it's not great business practices, but at least like you are physically doing the thing instead of just like flicking a switch and saying, here comes these people coming in. Everything's 50% more expensive for this bus ride and for the time that the people at the bus are in the grocery store. That feels like technology being a cheat against the consumer, whereas changing it the morning of, it's 4th of July and hot dogs are on sale and they had to go through and change all that. And I'm sure other buns are more expensive or whatever. But that just feels like how business works. Whereas if you're just twisting a knob.
So the human labor is the filter in that case.
And I think so. In my opinion, it's like, is it worth it for me to pay, 2 people for 3 hours to switch all these prices? That's maybe the factor. It's making it just too easy. And it's also a time thing. Like you can't do it in 10 seconds. Right. It takes thought and planning versus trusting an AI and connecting to people's phones to be like, well, now it's different. I just trust what the computer says.
Sure.
Is that a fair distinction, do you think?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't think you're wrong.
Okay.
I'm just trying to, I'm just trying to figure out but yeah, I don't think you're necessarily wrong.
Okay.
I think it's fucked up either way, but that's also the world we live in. So
A fucked up world.
Yeah.
So we are going to talk more about price fixing and egg prices and things like that. I did want to talk a little bit about eggs in general, and I wanted to talk about my experience today with eggs. So I
the word egg is one of my least favorite words in English language. It's just it rolls off the tongue in a gross kind of like almost like vomit sort of way.
Well, it's really, my partner. You asked me to go to some grocery stores and check out egg prices, and my partner is at our local farmers market, and I said, take some pictures of the prices and send them my way. And she's like, do you want me to get some? I said, I don't think I'm going to want to eat eggs for about a week after this episode, unfortunately. So if you are eating an egg right now, That's one of my catchphrases on the morning show is whenever I or my co-host is about to talk about something gross, I say, sorry for trying to eat an egg right now.
Yeah.
To do a morning show.
Right.
So if you were about to eat eggs, maybe.
Do you have it? Because I was not necessarily planning on going deep into the practices. We could.
No, we can save, farming and cage-free designations for another episode.
I mean, I'm just trying to see, do you have something very specific?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I know that I wanted to mention this really quick because, and this ties back into your barbecue a little bit as well. You are a vegan.
Yes.
And I don't like to make too big of a fuss about it, but
Yeah.
I remember in the past you saying that if you were ever going to eat anything humanely raised eggs from somebody's yard is something that you could possibly get down with. Is that possible?
I probably said that. I probably said that in the great world of animal products, if somebody just has chickens in their backyard and those chickens are just producing a bunch of eggs and they give them away, that is the best case scenario for an egg because nobody dies. The animal was treated okay, and it's not polluting the environment in any significant ways. Which is none of those things are true of industrial egg production that everybody regularly eats. And I do think that people use backyard people as a shield to eat the industrial thing, to be like, oh, well, once a month I buy these, so therefore, I'm okay with all the other stuff.
Well, the reason I ask about this, and we will get into the egg price fixing, but it feels like a year or 2 years ago when egg prices were really shooting through the roof. Mm-hmm. A lot of people started, at least where we are in the Joshua Tree area in Southern California, where people do have space, not a lot of apartments. It's more houses with huge yards, and people move out here for that yard space. But a lot of people I know started getting chickens, and we've always been. My partner is from Australia, where they have a much higher grocery store standard of what is acceptable treatment for animals, what's acceptable quality. In America, organic certified stuff is closer to the normal stuff in Australia, but not even that.
Yeah.
So my partner's always been really keen on only buying eggs from the farmer's market, which it comes at a premium, and we'll talk about prices in a minute. But egg prices have really been, as they really started hitting that particular ceiling, a lot of people I know started getting chickens in their yard. I think not just locally, but that was probably a trend.
Not roosters.
Not roosters.
So that means 50%. What happened to the other 50%?
That's a fair question. There's a rooster in my neighborhood.
Yeah, I know they're annoying as fuck.
We're insulated enough from the rooster. When I take my dog out in the morning, I think we wake up the rooster and we can hear it in the distance, but it's not that close to us. But for the last year, I'd say a colleague at work got chickens in the yard, and they've got too much eggs, and so they just have been giving us eggs from their chickens, backyard chickens. And that's been really awesome. And it's been a free source of eggs. We haven't bought eggs in a long, long time.
So outside of ethical stuff, if you went to Stater Brothers and you bought just the regular egg off the shelf, we'll say it's a brown egg because that looks a little fancier, right? But still regular. And then you have one of your backyard eggs. And let's say that they are the same temperature, so one's not cold. How different would they taste?
I don't know about the taste being that different. I think that the color is a big thing for my partner. I mean, eggs in Australia are bright orange, whereas they're kind of a paler yellow.
Are they covered in dirt in Australia?
I've eaten eggs in Australia. I've not cooked a lot.
I know in Europe they don't refrigerate them, but they also leave them covered in shit.
Yes.
But that is a protective.
Absolutely. So just real quick, I know that in Australia they don't wash the eggs. Washing the eggs before putting them on the shelf is a very American thing. I know that in Australia you don't refrigerate your eggs because they do have that protective layer of filth. When you wash the egg, you get rid of some of the things that preserve it. I think it's a natural component of the shell, like an antibacterial thing. And when you wash the eggs, you're getting rid of that natural fluid or whatever as well. So that's why we have to refrigerate them in America. The eggs we get from my colleague at work, we do not refrigerate. And sometimes I do have to wash them before we crack them because they can look a little gnarly. But that's part of using an animal product. And part of the problem of being a consumer in America is that you are, for convenience sake, more divorced from the natural components of the animal product that you're getting. So like, in America, we don't have to wash the shit off of the egg, but that's, disassociating that it's a natural animal product, for the sake of convenience and guilt-free omelets, I guess. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, we have been getting, taste-wise, I can't really detect a difference in taste. I think the color is related to the feed of the animal. So I think they're brighter orange eggs that show up at certain farmers markets or in Australia are more dependent on like what they're feeding the chickens. And I'm sure Australia mandates that they're feeding them a higher quality or a higher mix of whatever, or it's just everything's a little higher quality in Australia. Same with Paris. I mean, when you go to France, everything just tastes a little bit better because it's just the whole systemic approach to farming and raising animals is of a higher standard. Less industrialized.
If you're talking animals, for sure. I want to say that I think Southern California has some of the best produce in the world.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to disagree with that.
Yeah.
But I think there's things when you like get butter in France, probably more related to the animal products.
Yeah.
So I have not been able to detect a taste difference from the, grocery store organic eggs versus what we're getting from our friends, but we can certainly detect the freshness level of them.
Okay.
Like the way that they cook, the way that they act and behave, like eggs will change over time, even before they expire, getting back to this expiration date thing.
So they'll be a little more gelatinous or something like that. Yeah.
My partner will not poach an egg that is like, when we were getting from the farmer's market, and again, you get them from the farmer's market and you assume they're relatively fresh, but they might have been laid a week ago, She says, I write the date I buy them on the farmer's market, so if she buys eggs July 4th, by July 11th, they are no longer suitable for poaching.
Okay.
She says you have to, that is poaching.
She's got her own best by date.
100%. It's super confusing for me. It's very frustrating. So if I want her to poach eggs, it's got to be real fresh eggs. Has become a bit of a bit with my colleague where I explained this, my partner's weird thing about egg freshness. So she says, we were out there this morning getting you these eggs, so you better eat them and enjoy them. And I always send her photographs of our first big cook with the eggs that she gives us. Very silly. As the eggs get older, they get better for hard boiling.
Okay.
So the logic goes. And I have read that the shell comes off a little easier on an egg that's slightly older.
So you're at a diner. How do you get your eggs cooked?
All right. When I go out to restaurants, I like to have things done in the fashion that I cannot do them myself.
So no scramble, no sunny or fried.
I do like a fried egg. I will get a sunny side up egg just because I like that on the plate. It's very appealing. But a poached egg, I can't poach an egg. My partner does the egg poaching in our house.
Yeah, but you can't get that at a random diner, can you? You can't.
A lot of places will do a eggs Benedict. You want to maybe question the caliber of the kitchen before you order it at certain places. But that would be my preference. I love to get like a poached egg, or like if a place does a soft scramble, that can be really fun.
I always, when I ate eggs, I would get it hard fried. Yeah.
Are you a squeamish guy about the runny yolks?
Yeah, I never fuck with any gooey egg.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, I didn't even like hard boiled egg. I would just get it fried. I would need that Maillard. I need it to be charred.
Okay.
Yeah, whether it's fried or scrambled. Yeah.
I love a jammy egg, like a soft boiled egg. We went to a restaurant in Australia in Bondi Beach that only did soft-boiled eggs, like on the little thing, like the egg cup, and they cut off the top of it, and they give you little toast soldiers to dunk into the egg. And I love a ramen egg. that's also something I've never been able to really do the soft-boiled egg in my house.
Yeah.
So those are I do like a runny egg, runny ass egg. I did want to talk a little bit about the research that I did for this episode and the experience I had this morning. You said you were going to do a very deep dive into the egg fixing thing. So I'm going to be honest with you. I only have a pretty cursory understanding of the timeline and all that. I mean, I read a little bit about it, but I know that you had a lot to get into.
I mean, don't oversell it. And also, I never actually said that. I think, but I did.
But you kind of tasked me with running around and going to our local grocery stores and taking stock of egg prices. So I've done this in the past where I am in Yucca Valley, like I'm in town and all of the shops, not just the grocery stores, are kind of centralized around, couple square miles of highway. And so I told my partner, I woke up and I'm like, I gotta go look at egg prices today. She's like, you're gonna go to all those stores? I'm like, they're not that far away from each other.
Which stores?
Today I went to, the plan was to do Grocery Outlet, Vaughn's, Stater Brothers, and Aldi's.
Okay.
And there is a Walmart like within that sphere.
I took a picture of Walmart.
But I go to Walmart still, but I never think of Walmart as a grocery store. I still haven't made that change in my mind, and I know that that's something that their marketing team is actively trying to do, is make people, you think grocery store, you think Walmart. But I still think I go to Walmart to get, chains and soy sauce and, a sweatshirt and a TV, and maybe I'll like look at the fresh produce while I'm there and be like, oh, is there anything I need while I'm here? But I don't think to go there for groceries. But you do, right?
Oh, yeah, very frequently. But why soy sauce?
I just was thinking of a thing that I bought at Walmart. I mean, I had a Walmart buy recently that was pretty funny. I bought a TV and like green onions, and that was in my cart. And I was like, that's a cute Walmart cart. But and I was able to self-checkout with the TV as well.
That's funny.
And the TV was frighteningly cheap.
Yeah.
I mean, if we want to talk,
we talked about it.
Yeah. So today I left. We're recording this on the 4th of July, and I forgot that it was a holiday. This morning, I was like, not that this impacted anything that was going on. I just saw a lot of people in their star-spangled blouses and things like that. But I went to our local grocery outlet, and I got there and the door wasn't opening. And this was at 7, and there's a lady there who I think worked there, and she says, oh, they don't open until 8. And I looked at her and was like, what? And I said, what time is it? And she's like, it's 7:45. I said, I'm not going to wait around for
Yes.
I said, I'm going to, and I didn't say that to her. I was just like, oh, okay. I'll she could see I was walking away, and she's like, oh, she's waving you inside and saying you can come in and shop.
Oh.
So I got early
VIP treatment.
Well, they've had a lot of changing hands at the grocery outlet. I used to be very well known at that grocery outlet. I don't think I'm as well known there anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe I am, but people just aren't as effusive about shouting at me when I'm there these days, which is fine.
Yeah.
But I was snuck in 7:45.
But if you get snuck in, your plan was to just look at eggs, but now you have to buy something.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
So I did go in the back and take photos of the eggs, but then I'm like, okay, it's me and the two employees who let me in, and they're at the front. I have to buy something.
Yeah.
I was planning on stopping and getting an energy drink on the way in.
Alani?
Well, that's what I ended up having to buy. I did not want to buy an Alani. So I was looking I've been really into the Ghost energy drinks lately. As we've talked about on our energy drink episode, they did not have any cold Ghost energies. It was either Monsters or Alani. And I said, I guess I'm going to get an Alani.
What flavor and give it a out of 10?
This is the Orange Kiss. I saw that it was like kiwi on here at some point, but I probably misread the Kiss for kiwi. I would give this a 5 out of 10.
Okay.
It was not offensive.
Yeah.
Alani is definitely marketed to ladies, so I don't know if they were giving me side eye at the store when I bought this, but I just kind of made a big thing. Oh, I just needed to come in and get a little caffeine. So I bought this, took photos of the eggs, bounced. We're still before 8. I was trying to walk out, and a guy was trying to walk in, and the door was not opening.
Yeah.
They were still not officially open.
Yeah.
So I had created a bit of a headache for the people that worked there. So the lady who was outside when I got there, who told me the time, had to turn on the door, and I said, "Oh, I'm sorry. Now you guys are open early, and you got to let this guy in." But they didn't seem to mind that much.
Okay.
So a bit of a fiasco. The other thing I noticed, and after that all happened at grocery outlet, I realized that Aldi's does not open until 9 a.m. And I think that is an unacceptable time for a grocery store to open.
Yeah, that's not good. Grocery outlet normally opens earlier, but this is holiday hours?
I think they might actually just open at 8. That just might be the time that they open.
Okay.
I'm usually not at the grocery store at 8 a.m. or not at grocery outlet at 8 a.m. But I do. So, and again, I'm going to throw out some weird distinctions here. Aldi's doesn't open at 9, so I did not go to Aldi's. We started recording pre 9 a.m. I think that's an absurd time for a grocery store to open up. And while I like to shop at grocery outlet, I think that might be a distinguishing factor between a true grocery store and a not true grocery store.
Are they open like 6 a.m. or what about 7 a.m.? Is that too late?
I think a proper grocery store has to be opening when it's like still dark outside. That's like, I think if you are a place where regular people need to go to, you've got to have pretty expansive hours.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the deal. When you call yourself a grocery store or a supermarket, you have to have those early hours and you have to have those late hours because people have weird jobs.
Yeah.
And when you're an Aldi, and I don't know, is Aldi only open like 9 to 5? Like they're doing an 8-hour thing there?
I went there at 8:30, so I think it's 9 to 9.
Okay, 9 to 9.
Yeah.
That's not really true grocery store hours. And I know grocery outlet, which I do go to a lot, is open pretty late. Mm-hmm. But the fact that they didn't open until 8 a.m. means like, I can't get breakfast stuff.
Right.
If I'm up early, like you can go to the grocery store and get breakfast stuff.
Right.
If you're camping and like, oh, there's a grocery store over there, you go, I can run in and get eggs and get back to my campsite and have breakfast with the family. Can't do that with Aldi. Probably not with grocery outlet, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I don't know. When do you think a grocery store should open up?
I guess 6 seems the right time. I understand that some people have even earlier jobs, but 6 seems to be the...
I'm raising my hand.
Exactly.
If the grocery store was open at 5 a.m., it would be such a game changer for me. I think our local ones, I don't know, maybe they open at 5:30. I don't think they open at 5. They certainly aren't open at 4:45. Like for me to get to my job in time, I would probably need to be at the grocery store like at 5 a.m. That would be such a game changer if I could grab stuff on the way into work. But I don't have that option, unfortunately.
All right, so let's get to these prices.
Okay. The other thing, sorry to keep derailing you.
Yeah.
So I feel so weird just going into a grocery store and taking photos of stuff and walking right out again.
Sure.
I've done it a lot for this show, and I'm sure we'll remark on it again in the future. But if somebody stopped me, excuse me, sir, what are you doing? I'd be like, I'm doing a research project.
Yeah.
I'm a 55-year-old college student.
You should dress more like a private eye, like a big trench coat and a hat over your eyes. Yeah,
And talk like this.
yeah, exactly.
So where do you want to start with the prices?
Just I don't know. Yeah, whatever makes sense to you.
So on the whole, I was quite shocked by how inexpensive eggs were.
Me too.
And I say this as somebody who, in the last few years, is not that engaged with prices. I mean, obviously, I'm looking at stuff, but I'm not, scraping by. I'm not going on my list and like budgeting out stuff like that. Like I've never been, even in my poorest, I'm not the most concerned with like, oh, these prices have gone up. I'm just like, this is the price. Can I afford it? How bad do I want it if it's really expensive? Like the way beef is right now, I'm cooking with a lot less beef because it is really expensive, and that's fine, but I'm not tracking beef prices. And I know that there's a lot going on with beef prices at this moment. So as a guy who has not bought eggs in a very, very long time, shocked by how cheap eggs were. I would say they are like, for store eggs, most of them do say cage-free on them. I mean, we're talking less than $3 for a dozen. Grocery outlet, you could get a dozen eggs And these were just, cage. It says cage free on them, 99 cents.
Wow.
Which I know Grocery Outlet has some like really banging deals, and that's part of their situation is like they've got really inexpensive prices on a lot of staples.
Yeah.
I was shocked that you could get a dozen.
Yeah, that's because I was at Walmart, not cage free, but the baseline eggs was $1.87. So that's almost half of that.
And looking at Vons, which is a Safeway situation, they did have. Hold on, I'm looking. It's as close as you can get to their store brand. I think is Lucerne their store brand, or is
that's Vons? Yeah, that's Safeway's brand.
$2.99 for extra large AA eggs. Okay. I don't think they say anything about cage free on them, but $2.99 is
still, and they're larger than the other ones. I guess I would assume.
At that Safeway, they had the most expensive eggs I saw, and I actually couldn't. This is 18 pack. It's Vital Farms, who I have some issues with for some of their marketing. But it says organic, pasture raised, tended by hand. 18 eggs for $15.99, which is close to $1 an egg.
Wow,
a little less than $1 an egg.
Tended by hand. Okay.
And they have other Vital eggs, but that particular batch was like primo. That's like your most expensive egg. They have some Pete and Jerry's pasture raised eggs for $7.49 on sale. And they have other Vital Farms that are say pasture raised that are like $7 for a dozen. But yeah, the cheap eggs there, $1.99 for a dozen. And I do have the Stater Brothers as well, if you'd like to get a quick glance at the Stater Brothers. They're a little bit more expensive at Stater Brothers. I think their biggest deal was the $2.99 for a dozen cage-free. They're all marked cage-free, or $2.49. If you buy two, you could get one free if you use their app.
Okay.
So that, drops the price pretty significantly as well.
Two... Meaning you would get 3 dozen.
3 dozen for the price of 2.
Right. So that's a lot of fucking eggs.
3 dozen eggs for, I guess, $5 there.
Yeah.
So I guess eggs is cheap again?
Well, yeah. So so we'll talk about that. Yeah. But one of the things I just want to say, I mean, obviously I have certain ethical and blah, blah, blah feelings about all this. But when the egg prices were absurdly expensive, like on some level, I have to just admit that if you are a working class person and you need calories, that like 8, 9 at Grocery Outlet, they're 8 cents an egg. So you would be getting 2 eggs, which is not an insignificant amount of food for a meal, for 18 cents or whatever, 16 cents. That's good. I mean, all of my, I have a lot of ethical stuff about eggs, but I'm glad that. Or I just want to acknowledge that they are a very important staple for
acknowledge.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I know that you and I are both childless men, but for so many parents, like doing scrambled eggs and like toast is the most effective and affordable way to feed your kids. Like I know parents on all ends of the economic spectrum, and everybody is feeding their kids scrambled eggs. That is like the most essential kids food. Like I would say even more so than like a peanut butter and jelly, especially in the 21st century.
Yeah.
Parents are feeding kids on scrambled eggs. So it is like an essential thing. And I think when you're economists would say that like eggs are one of those like foods by which you can measure the overall health of the economy, is like how expensive eggs are, like is one of those kind of staples.
Well, maybe at one point.
Okay. Not anymore.
So let's look at some charts.
Okay.
All right. So this is ground beef right now. Now we're going to talk about, I'll talk right now. Inflation is a really difficult thing to pin down because everything is so all over the place. And so what they try to do is they try to do a typical basket of products. But the problem is like, A, like what is in this basket is a big question. B, what is left out of the basket is a big question, because like things like rent and health insurance are not, or car insurance or car payments are not in that basket. So they just get thrown out the window. But eggs and milk and bread and orange juice and stuff like that, those are typically in there. All right. So this is the price of beef. Now, beef is going through some typical stuff. But what I want you to see is that, like, it is a pretty clear upward slope. Like, there's ups and downs, but it is it's pretty alarming that it, almost doubled this is since 2020. So, or at least it's 50% more, 150% more. But, okay, and then this is chicken. Okay, so we had this sort of bird flu thing
in July 2022. It looks like.
Yeah, and then it went down, and it pretty much flatlined since that sort of bird flu thing. Okay, so again, like there's probably some fuckery going on here, but the reason why the eggs are being pointed out because this is the egg thing. And you can see there are two absurd spikes that do not follow any like natural anything. This is the same bird flu time as the chicken thing. This one is not. And one of the things right here during this earnings call, the largest egg manufacturer which is the main defendant of this lawsuit, Cal-Maine, in their earnings call right here, he said, in the same breath, he said, the reason why the egg prices are skyrocketing is because of bird flu. And then he also said, but none of our farms have been affected by bird flu. So they're simultaneously blaming bird flu, but also like looking at this spike is like pretty absurd, right? So this is why there's this lawsuit, because the difference, you can see like the difference is pretty stark, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, all right, what is the lawsuit? The lawsuit is there are three primary egg producers, Cal-Maine being the largest, and there are actually other ones that are sued in other lawsuits. So pretty much like there's 5 main egg producers in the U.S. And I think collectively they produce about 50 or 60% of the eggs. Cal-Maine alone produces about 20%. So then they're the main one. They were accused of directly coordinating to increase the price of eggs during this period and during another period, the other spike. And there's this central database that's been around since the 1800s. And let me get the name real quick. It's called the Urner-Berry Publications. It's been around since the late 1800s.
I've not heard of it.
Yeah, they track meat or animal commodity pricing. So chicken, beef, milk, eggs. And this is what everybody, if you are a commodities trader, like this is the company you go to. And theoretically, they're getting a non-partial sort of like a realistic, this is what they're selling, is they're giving a realistic view of what are current things selling right now. And there's another another thing called the Egg Clearinghouse. And they're an electronic egg trading platform.
Okay.
And apparently, if you're a big egg producer, or maybe if you're, Ralph's or HEB or something like that, you're going to go on the Egg Clearinghouse and you're going to make bids. You're going to say, I want, 1 million cage-free extra large eggs for this price. And then some producer somewhere is going to say, yes, right? It's this constant sort of buying and selling thing. So what these companies were doing is they were directly coordinating via text and email with each other, which you're not allowed to do. And they were saying, we need to make essentially fake orders in the Egg Clearinghouse. We need to make orders that are so high that we know are not going to get filled. so that the egg clearinghouse will say, oh, well, the egg prices are now trading for this, and the egg prices are now trading for this. And then the Erner Berry Publications is going to print that as the current baseline standard. So not only are they raising the price for themselves as the main producers, but they're raising the price for all eggs because everybody follows this kind of database.
Yes. So by saying, okay, we're going to put in these fake bids, then that is just raising like that whole standard, and then that's a fake standard, but then it becomes printed, and then therefore becomes the legitimate standard by the egg database, right?
That's right. And people knew that this was happening. That's the frustrating thing. And there were all these I remember vividly, maybe you do, there's a phrase that people used called greedflation. And then economists and capitalists were like, that's nonsense. I hate this term. And it is a little bit frustratingly pithy of a term. But basically what they're saying is or what the economists who were arguing for greedflation were saying is that, yes, there are economic pressures. Yes, COVID has fucked everybody. There's oil stuff going on. There's bird flu. Like, those are real economic factors. But even if you factor in all of those things, the prices are still noticeably, markedly higher than they should be. And simultaneously, these companies and the grocery stores and everybody else are bragging about record profits at the same time. So that's what they're calling greedflation. They're saying that the price is far outpacing what one would expect it to be based on other inflationary.
And we're seeing that a lot right now with oil. I mean, oil companies are saying, oh, well, there's a war in Iran and Strait of Hormuz is closed, so we got to raise oil. But they're also saying, well, yeah, we're making a huge amount of money on this as well.
That's right.
Yeah.
So if we're so strapped for cash, why would they be making such record profits? Well, yeah. So
it's the price of the consumer price is outpacing what even they're paying for a barrel because the headline says the oil's they're going up. So let's just get it twice as far up as we could.
That's right. And unfortunately, this stuff is hard to pin down. Monopoly and price fixing is really hard to pin down because maybe we can talk about it, but there's a separate lawsuit about rent. And the argument is basically that having this centralized database where you're basically publishing what was previously private information is in and of itself a form of price fixing because you are now creating a coordination amongst people that were previously uncoordinated.
That's so like if we are saying we have this big database, and this is like the whole information thing where it's like you have all this extra information and therefore you can sinisterly raise the can of whipped cream by 50 cents for this guy versus that guy.
Yeah.
It's because everything is available and accessible and can be, read by these large language models who can process all this data in real time and circumvent that like barrier of human labor and time, which maybe would impact that. But you can say, well, they're paying, $4,000 for a 2-bedroom apartment in California. And me as a landlord in Topeka, I can say, well, if they're charging $4,000, I'll just charge $38,000 because they're getting that in California. I should get that here. And it's not. It's flattening everything in a certain way, but flattening it in the way that is highest for everybody, if that makes sense.
Highest for whoever has power to control them.
Whereas, it's not really considering like, well, what does an apartment go for? What do people make in Topeka?
Right.
What does an apartment go for in Topeka? Like it just is like, okay, well, they're doing that in California, so I do that here. And vice versa, but it always veers towards costing, extracting money from the lower class up to the higher class.
Correct. So the problem is that that's a much trickier argument to be made because this idea of publishing prices has existed again since the late 1800s. And if it is a centralized person who's just being like, oh, you charge this amount for rent, I'm going to just say like in Topeka now the average price is X. Like how can you prove coordination? So people are trying to prove that for rent specifically.
I blame Jeff Goldblum for his stupid apartments.com ads.
That's right. It's all
Specifically Jeff Goldblum.
it's
not
all
even apartments.com.
it all comes back to Jeff Goldblum.
He's really fucking over the working people, the renters of the world.
He should have stayed that fly.
What does he call himself? Bill Bellflower in those stupid
I
commercials?
forget. I know.
Really find those diabolical.
Yeah.
I really think Jeff Goldblum should not be doing those, and shame on
He
him.
probably needs the money. I'm kidding.
Real quick, we were watching World Cup yesterday at Tiny Pony, my local watering hole, and we have some friends show up because Australia was playing. My partner's Australian. This Australian and English couple came through, and I saw a commercial with, I don't know, somebody, some rich celebrity, and I was like, do they need the money? And then I forgot that my friend who was at the table with us works on commercials like all the time, and he's like, yeah, he probably does. And then they started like breaking down like the economics of a celebrity commercial for me. And I was just like, it was really interesting, but I'm like, I gotta be careful who I say, does Jeff Goldblum need the money to? Because he probably does need the money, and that's a whole different economic situation.
Need is he needs it to maintain a standard of living of being a movie star in the 90s.
Yes.
So does he need it?
Anyways, but that the egg database is
So that's the question. So what is price checking? What is monopolistic practice? What is that's the question. And I think there's a strong argument to be made that the mere publishing of private information in this sort of way, it can be acting as a central coordinating factor. But Calmain and Hickman's, they went one step further, and that's why they're actually getting busted. It's because there are actual proven things being like the actual quote was let it rip, and the other quote was let it rip, and the other quote was let's hold prices, meaning like the prices would be declining, but they're all coordinating to not let them decline. So there were direct, non-third party related direct coordination, and that's why they're getting busted.
fun.
Yeah. Now, unfortunately, in my opinion, I don't think the punishment is matching the crime.
Not very much.
Yeah.
It is 3.3 million. They have to undergo antitrust compliance programs. So that means that like they have to get a breathalyzer at their CEO meeting, but it doesn't measure alcohol. It measures sinister vibes. Don't scam people, you guys. Guys, don't scam people.
Guys.
And 3.3 million, and they have to donate 53 million eggs, which
To nonprofits.
okay.
Yeah.
That's a nonprofit can be a different story, a different episode.
Yeah.
But no, that really doesn't seem like a very significant. In this era of mega corporations where this is a consortium of all the motherfuckers that overcharge you for eggs, like whenever the government slaps the highest allowable fine on a company, it doesn't feel like that level of fine has raised commensurately with how big these companies have gotten. Like $3.3 million does not seem like very much. Like maybe if you were, busting a farmer in the 1970s, $3.3 million would be pretty hurtful and like really fuck them up. But
Well, let's look at the annual. This is gross profit. This is not income.
Yes.
This is profit. So in 2017, Calmain made $46 million. So that's a lot more than the 3.3 million, right? You go all the way to 2022, and they made $1.196 billion. So yeah, I think that 3.3 is going to be a slap in the bucket or drop in the bucket. And then last year, 2025, they made 1.8 billion, not million, billion. So yeah, I think they're going to be all right. And this CEO, oh no, he needs to, take a class or whatever. But meanwhile, somebody, steals something from 7-Eleven, they go to prison, and this guy stole billions of dollars, billions from regular working people, and he's got to take a class. That's cool.
Not ideal. When I heard that there was, they did put a stop to this, this antitrust egg fixing thing. I'm like, at least the government is kind of doing something, but it in the end, it does not really seem. It seems like it's more for headlines to say, "Yeah, we busted these egg guys," and then you look at the details, and it's like, "Oh, they didn't really do that. They busted them, but it's kind of just a moral victory and pretty meaningless."
Well, the thing is that they actually busted them right here in February of 2023. They busted them one time, and you can see what happened. They got a little spooked. And the egg prices followed, and then all of a sudden there was another spike. So I'm not sure that this saga is over. If anything, I have a feeling they're going to be more emboldened. And if they can get away with this, then why would the beef and the other chickens people not be trying to get away with this?
That's also true. I mean, especially with the gas, I just assume that prices, once they go up, if it's for greedflation purposes or spiking, like they're never going back down. Like everything is just going to they'll charge you as much as they can, and then they say, oh, well, we went too far, and they'll drop it, back 10%, but it's still, and you're like, oh, thank goodness gas is only, $6 now instead of $6.50, but that's still way too much. Well, I do think gas should be expensive, actually.
Right. I should say that for reporting purposes, so we don't get sued or anything, Cal-Maine and these other companies have admitted no wrongdoing. This is just a settlement that they happened to agree to for reason. I don't know. But also, sort of similarly, Kroger CEO admitted to price gouging on milk and eggs. This is in 2024. So it's not just the egg producers, it's also the egg sellers.
And how did they, what were they doing? They were just raising prices on shit?
Yep.
Okay.
They just raised prices. That's all they did. They acknowledged to the FTC that they had indeed
acknowledged
raised prices on milk and eggs at a rate higher than inflation. So good, so cool. We don't need to get into deep theories of capitalism, but suffice to say, what we are experiencing right now, there's a lot of pro-capitalist people who are like schools that are very opposing forces on both of these sides. There are pro-capitalist people who think monopoly and antitrust is the thing that's going to save capitalism. And then there's pro-capitalist people who think that the government meddling whatsoever is the problem and that the market will just sort of sort it out.
Well, to talk realistically about the difference in recent political administrations, like I see egg prices shooting up in like March of 2025, and I'm like, because, groceries have been such a hot topic amongst, national politics at the moment. It's like, if you are trying to get a certain U.S. president or certain politicians voted in, you could certainly raise prices in March of an election year. That would be something that one could do to perhaps influence the outcome of an election and get a more lenient administration in who does not prosecute antitrust cases as rigorously, but also the difference between the last two administrations as far as like antitrust, anti-corporate greed is pretty limited. I mean, I'm dancing around it like, Trump is certainly more in favor of like people doing kind of whatever they want, but I don't think like the Biden federal government was really prosecuting shit anyway that much to start with.
No. The only person who I will defend from the Biden administration is Lena Khan, but beyond that, no. I agree.
I certainly like Trump is like a slightly dumber guy that you could say you're going to make Rush Hour 4 and then you could have your huge merger, whatever. Like you just a little easier to figure out on that one.
For sure.
So I guess if I'm like an egg guy trying to screw everybody, I would probably want the scammier president in power.
This is an aside, and we're getting very political, but had you heard that the Iranians, they had been going through all these negotiations, and then they hired a psychologist who said, if somebody was a narcissistic sociopath with a fragile ego, how would you coordinate with them and negotiate with them? And the psychologist gave them very specific instructions, and that was exactly when the negotiations turned around and Iran started to essentially do a good job for themselves. So so cool. So if you needed to speak to somebody like they're a baby, that's how you would do it.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, look, eggs is politics. In fact, you would even say that as politics.
Would you say that?
Polit eggs.
I got you.
Yeah, I would say that as polit eggs. But no, I mean, like,
Yeah.
when we started talking about this podcast, like, I think food is political. I think grocery stores are certainly go hand in hand with the politics and the culture of late 20th century, early 21st century, where we're fighting the current day. It's impossible to avoid when we're talking eggs. We got to talk about the maniacs that are fixing egg prices and fucking everybody over.
That's right.
And I mean, I saw this. This is from Supermarket News. It's from their article about the settlement, and they're saying a financial consulting firm, Clarify Capital, said that more than 1/3 of people just said they stopped buying eggs in 2025. They're like, I can't afford eggs anymore, so I buy other stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that's that self-correcting capitalism thing that you were talking about, where it's like if eggs get so expensive, then people will fucking stop buying eggs.
Yeah.
And then, I guess they just have 53 million eggs to donate as part of a settlement.
I mean, for the record, I don't buy that. I'm not on that side of it. I think both, I don't know, whatever. Yeah.
I do think that there was as a positive, possibly, from eggs getting super expensive is the story of my colleague and probably a lot of other people.
Sure.
The idea of growing your own eggs, raising your own chickens in your yard seems a lot more, I don't know about feasible, but it seems like more cost effective. And maybe that is like how things kind of get back to that, local self-determining rule. Like, I have to admit, like, I see grocery store prices and I'm trying to start growing my own stuff at the house a little bit more. Like, it feels like a daunting process, but when I see how much I'm spending at the grocery store every single day, because I go every single damn day, and I'm like, oh, this is a lot more expensive than it used to be. And I'm like, I should start growing my own thyme and, growing my own rosemary and my own herbs and my own vegetables and stuff. It is, maybe that's that self-correcting element, is that I feel like I got to do my own shit now because shit's too expensive.
Yeah.
Is that what an economist might suggest?
I mean, yeah, that is probably what
That's that self-correction?
What a Chicago School of Economics would say.
Okay.
But they would, yeah. But what they really would say is that a new egg producer would come along and undercut the main ones, and that would be the correction. That's really what they would say.
I mean, the new egg producer is my colleague Sharon and her husband Dario, who give me eggs. That's my solution to the fucking problem.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's maybe I'm just having too optimistic a perspective on what self-correcting actually means in an economic sense.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I mean, who gets starved along the way?
And I know that we're in a rural area where we can do a lot of that, but if everybody out here is having chickens and there's too much chickens, and then get them to the LA friends, come visit me in LA, and I'll send you back with 24 eggs. I'll send you back with a month's worth of eggs. I don't know, local.
I agree. Look, I agree with the sentiment for sure.
But not in practice.
Just I mean, just there's real childhood hunger, child hunger here, and this is directly a part of it. And backyard is good, and I support reducing industrial egg production, but I also don't want a kid to be hungry. So, and they're directly related.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure some of those 53 million eggs donated will go to hungry kids.
Yeah.
Probably at least some of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the idea, I guess.
Anything else we want to hit with the egg fixing?
No.
Okay.
Just that it sucks that this is just it's a constant churn that we all know it exists, and then someone gets a slap on the wrist, and we're like, look, there it existed, and then we have to just go back.
It's dark out there.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you see any solutions, like regulation wise, or anything that we can do as people aside from having chickens in the yard?
Well, I guess the one, boy, that's a big subject. I think it's good to be aware of the environmental impact of everything. I think it's good to be aware of the subsidies that goes into all these kinds of things, like gas. If gas was not subsidized in some way by the federal government, it would be a lot more. I don't know exactly about egg subsidies, but I know that they are related to all of this stuff. So, price fixing is bad, but also environmental degradation is bad, and we should just kind of do our best to live a little more holistically and advocate for and vote for people and advocate for policies that encourage that. I don't know. That's all I got.
I think that's good. You could say that. That's all good stuff.
Yeah.
There's nothing bad in there.
Sure.
How to do those things is also hard as well.
Right.
That's like saying everyone just do eggs in the yard. It's like,
Yeah.
It's challenging. You got to build some shit. You got to get the chickens. It does change your life a little bit. There are adjustments that you need to make to get to that kind of spot. So, I wouldn't say it was a fun deep dive into eggdom, but I learned a lot.
Good.
And it's speaks very much to the situation that we're in.
Yeah.
Can I do a little local news between you and me? A little friend news real quick?
Sure.
So you're hosting a little bit of a cookout today?
Yeah.
And it was determined, you said you're not opposed to anybody bringing meat, but you don't cook meat, and you've told my partner that I'm designated as the guy that's going to cook that meat.
I said someone like Jef.
Okay.
It was, I think, my exact words.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
And we had all these barbecue plans. Like, I bought a weird grocery store item 2 weeks ago down the hill. They had this rare thing that I don't see on shelves very much, and I bought it without thinking about it. And I said, how long do I have to cook it? And the guy said, 2 weeks. So 2 weeks is coming up on Tuesday. We're recording this on Saturday. I had all these plans to do a big cook, like a big smoke, cook on my smoker yesterday. And those plans fell through because Australia did not do so good in the World Cup. And there was an overtime that was took about 30 minutes of playtime, and then there was a shootout. So by the time we got home, I did not have time to do the food. So a few people were saying, what are we going to bring over to, are we supposed to bring some stuff to Adams? You very lovingly requested my partner make her kale salad. So she was doing that. And I did not get to cook a rack of ribs that I bought yesterday to cook in addition to the special ingredient, my special basket ingredient. So I'm going to bake the ribs in the oven when I get home and finish them on the grill at your house, if that's okay.
Of course.
But the thing that I need to cook by Tuesday, I said to my partner, should we take this to Adams? And she said, you should not take this particular food stuff to a vegan guy's house. It is too gross.
What is it?
It is blood sausage.
I can handle it.
I know you probably could.
I can handle it.
But she said, it's nice that he's accommodating some meat at the house, but you don't need to push it by bringing blood sausage to a place.
Yeah.
So I'll be cooking up my blood sausage tomorrow. I think we'll just be bringing the ribs to your house if that's okay. And
it's fine.
Kale salad.
That's fine, of course.
So,
and it's just a very regular barbecue. I hope that's okay.
Yeah.
Nothing. Okay.
Well, you got a new pool. So I'm excited to go into the pool.
For sure.
So we're all going to go to our own things. I'm going to go cook ribs and host a blueberry pie eating competition. And you're going to go prepare for company. Is that right?
Pretty much. Thanks.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, this has been another episode. This has been a great one. Thank you for joining us on our deep dive into egg fixing.
Yeah.
Egg price fixing. Egg fixing is where you crack the shell and then you get your tape out. You get your little glue where you try and put it all back together.
Fabergé. Yeah.
Well, this has been another episode of Clean Up on Aisle Podcast. Thanks, Adam.
Thank you.